What is up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? We got a new subscriber the last couple days. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support and welcome to the team. I appreciate that you like the Twisted Metal videos and your interactions and whatnot. And sorry I didn't give you a welcome yesterday. We lost one, and it was my step grandfather, Terry, who I've talked about in plenty of videos. And for the first time ever, he decided to comment. And we're going to read that comment today and go through it and give you a little glimpse of what I'm talking about in the Blood Means Nothing video. Look, it's hard for me to talk about this stuff, all right? And the challenging thing with making videos about it is if this is the first time you're watching me, or if you subscribed last week, to make it digestible, I have to try to make it under 30 minutes. And to try to talk about 20 years or even 10 years of bullshit that's happened and to give context around everything is hard. Like the video really should have been 2 hours long, but I'm trying to gloss over a lot to just I guess give you the brief outline, but it doesn't do what I'm trying to say justice. And I'm coming off harsh, especially to viewers that are new, and you're probably thinking, well, why the fuck would your grandparents want a relationship with you if you're talking about them like that? But you've got to understand that this is a cultivation of 20 years growing, and it's just finally boiling over, and I'm finally deciding I've had enough of it. Like, literally my entire life, they have done nothing but belittle me, talk shit about me, weaponize my anxiety issues, and just make me feel like a burden. And do nothing but talk about what a failure I am. And that video is about me wanting to have a better relationship with my grandparents, because they're all I have. My grandma, Terry, is not my grandfather. He's a step-grandpa, and I want to better our relationship, but that's been dwindling throughout the last decade. But in order to fix that relationship, we need therapy. We need to sit down. We need to have a talk. We need to have a deep discussion about the ways that they have contributed to my mother's shitty childhood, my shitty childhood. You know, they got no problem bringing up my mental disorders and throwing them in my face. But whenever I want to have that conversation about why they're there in the first place, to try to get over it, to try to ease the pain and get over the trauma of everything that's happened to me throughout life, nope, suddenly they don't want anything to do with that. And I think a perfect capture of it is this comment. So let's read this comment, shall we? Well, bud, I have watched 95% of your videos. It is too bad your mental state is affecting your judgment. Starting off strong here, immediately lying. You do not watch 95% of my shit, Terry. You only watch the political videos and then go and bitch about them to Nana, and then I get to hear about it from Nana. Way to try to make it look like you're being supportive for the viewers, when in fact, not only have you insulted my fan base, but you've quite literally spit on the very idea of this being an outlet in the first place. If you did, then that would mean that you watched all my childhood videos, all my trauma dumping videos, all my divorce videos, all of my videos having to do with my personal life, and you didn't decide to comment a single time. This is your first comment in 300 videos, but you've watched 95% of them while spitting on the channel? I don't think so. So, credibility instantly out the window. I have listened to you abusing my character and telling lies about me too many times now. course 2 is incorrectly spelled. You were a drug addict when I told you a few things about my life, but trust me, I didn't share that much, and you are now making assumptions about me and my life. Now, this sentence cracks me up not only because you have the grammatical errors of a 3-year-old, which just proves my theory that the only reason you succeeded in life is because of your support system, and that's why they're so damn important, but you love to bring up my past of being a drug addict. Meanwhile, you're a porn addict. That's just a well-documented fact. Even Nana knows that, and it hurts her feelings, but you make her sweep that under the fucking rug. And I overcame my drug addiction. You haven't seemed to overcome yours. Addiction comes in many fucking forms. Also, once a drug addict, always a drug addict. Dumbass. And that's not just me saying that. I literally found burnt CDs of teenage porn and the guest room that you made me stay in when I was at your house. Remember that, Terry? Because I brought that to your attention. Also, whenever it was on your computer doing schoolwork, happened to come across thousands of gigabytes of porn videos saved. But okay. Twitter My Shitter. That was the name of the DVD. So far, you've lied twice. We're doing good. And you say you shared part of your life with me. No, you didn't. The only thing you told me is that you went into the military. Everything else is from Nana. You said you were a C-average kid that fucked around, went into the military, and then came home. You didn't come home to, no house. You lived with your parents until you found your niche. There's nothing wrong with that. But to sit here and fucking look down on others and call them failures because of where they're at in life when you had your ass wiped till you were 30, I just think is a little bit hypocritical and a little bit holier than thou, which is why having a good support system is important. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with living with your parents until you find your niche. But the fact that you're going to sit here and pretend like you made it through hard work and determination and that I'm lying is bullshit. Also, about your daughter, you love to tell Nana that, she's just a spoiled brat that cut ties with you due to financial problems, due to money, you not giving her money. That's why your daughter cut ties with you. Because if there's one thing I know as somebody that had to cut off ties with their parents, that's not an easy decision to make, and you wouldn't do that over money. I know you. I've had the benefit of getting to know you for my entire life. And, well, you have the emotional range of a rock. Little girls need emotion. I could not imagine having you as a father, as a little girl that's addicted to porn. That shows no emotion whatsoever, so I know for a fucking fact that you chose a career over her and didn't give her any emotional support whatsoever, which was probably a nightmare, so she cut off ties with you. But hey, sum it up to she's just a brat that wanted your money, Terry. I mean, that's a great emotional supportive way to talk about your own flesh and blood, when the reality is your ex-wife was a failure because you couldn't push her around like you can my grandmother. You treat my grandmother like shit and take advantage of her naiveness, and you always have. So a little bit of a I don't respect women issue seems to be a common thing with you. Your parents literally lived until you were 60, dude. Like, that's something to be grateful for, that you had that support from your siblings and your parents all your life, that you simply can't relate to and never will, but continue to undermine that. Your sister got the help she needed to move forward in her life and on the correct medicine to make her strive in the upward direction. Even thou, she still hurts from the past. Way to spit on my sister's progress. I love that you sum up the she got help and got on the right medicine. That's why she's doing better. By got help, you mean got a whole new family because she had no emotional support from this one. So you're just going to leave that part out, and you think the medicine that she's on is why she's doing better? I wonder if it's a combination of being in the right environment, having good emotional support system, and being on medication. Yeah, but let's spit on that, and let's just say it's because she got on medicine. and sum up her needing a whole new family to support her to getting the help she needed. Also, love that you're sitting here pretending to care about her after talking shit the entire time that she got into that new family. When she met her boyfriend, who is now about to be her husband, congratulations, Alicia, you did nothing but talk shit about her the entire time, but now you're just oh so proud of her. You're a fucking dick. I will no longer subscribe and watch you in your mental state. So no need to keep telling lies about me without knowing facts, all caps. So have a nice life. Oh, and by the way, Tennessee does not want you. Thank you. That last part sums it all up. You have the maturity of a 5-year-old. First of all, I was born in Tennessee. You were born in Michigan. So, I mean, you love to bring that up when it comes to citizenship. Anytime you see a brown person, you say they're here illegally and whatnot. I just think it's funny that you speak for all Tennesseans when you say Tennessee doesn't welcome you. Okay, Terry, why don't you go back to Michigan? So, hey, go back to where you came from. I mean, the paragraph and the insults legit look like they were written by a 16-year-old, Terry. See, here's the thing. I've been sober for 5 years. I'm 28. I've had a full frontal lobe for 3. And I've been a father for almost 4. Yes, I'm very stressed out whenever it comes to life, but if anything, I'm having more clarity now than ever. I'm just starting to recognize that the root of all my issues, which I would like to move on from, stems from more than just my mother. My mother had a shitty childhood. And I didn't want to say this in the last video, but since you guys want to act immature, my mother was literally raped by her grandparents. And what did my grandmother do? Swept it under the rug and continued to sweep it under the rug all my mom's life instead of actually dealing with the emotional turmoil from that. So my mom had a horrible childhood. And as a result of that, ended up being a horrible parent. And then we had a terrible childhood. Crazy, huh? I don't understand how you two privileged brats managed to be such terrible parents when you had an actual good support system, but good job. The whole video and the whole point was that I wanted to better our relationship. Not just for me, but for Persephone too. And it's dwindling, and I don't want it to. I want to go to therapy. I want to explore this and talk about this and how you guys have contributed to why my childhood was so shitty. I want to talk about how you contributed to why mom's childhood was so shitty, which you continue to sweep under the rug to this day. There is no mental state. You guys are assholes. You were terrible parents. You raised kids to be fucked up, and then you blame them for being fucked up. And if I simply say that sentence to you, you just go, Jeremy, you're insane. You're being bipolar again. Imagine 10 years of that. No, imagine 20 years of that. Sorry. You're an idiot. You're a jackass. You're a privileged asshole, and you manipulate the shit out of my grandmother, by the way. My grandmother is one of those people that just kind of absorbs the personalities that are around her. And I know good and damn well that you're the one whispering in her ear that every time I hit her up, it's for money. That this and fucking that and the third. It's not a coincidence that the longer she's with you, the more she becomes like you. I hit my grandmother up the other day just to vent about the fact I couldn't sleep and got met with, I don't have any money to give you. That's you, and I know that that is. And the most fucked up thing, my grandmother doesn't even feel like she can talk to me on the phone around you. So, like, we quite literally can't talk because anytime we're on the phone, you just sit here acting like I'm the biggest fuck up in the world. Okay, Terry. My relationship with my grandmother is quite literally going downhill because you on your high horse, who's so successful, you're the definition of money does not equal success, have convinced her that she's just a bank to me. When I'm actually have done nothing but try to emotionally reach out to her for over a decade now. So congrats on that, Terry. The fact is I wanted to better our relationship. The problem is that requires you to take a little bit of accountability for how you've contributed to my life and my mom's life. The only way to actually deal with this trauma and get over it isn't to just shove pills in my mouth and shut up like you want me to. It's to actually have those conversations with you. And the reason why I'm starting to get mad and harsh is because why the fuck not? If I say something as simple as, wow, I had a hard time sleeping this week, or, oh, you want to work on trauma and get to the root of my stress? Well, maybe we should go to group therapy. Oh, your bipolar's acting up again, Jeremy. Like, throw my mental illness in there anytime to get out of any situation where you have to take accountability. Quite literally backing me up into a corner until I explode. This is a result of 10 fucking years of me shutting my mouth to try to have a relationship with you while being belittled, while being ignored, being dismissed, and treated like I'm an actual burden. So finally, I got to the point to where it was, we either need to work on this or I'm done with this relationship because you're bringing me down. And you couldn't just say, yeah, let's work on this. Let's go to therapy. Let's do it. No. You want to live the rest of your life pretending that you are the two people on earth that have never made a mistake, that are perfect. And I guess me, Mom, Aunt Carla, and Alicia, and Terry's daughter are just, I don't know, I guess we were just born not right. It has nothing to do with the environment and the parenting. You know, has nothing to do with you guys. So basically, it's either have a relationship with you and shut the fuck up and take the belittlement and just never have you take accountability for anything. Therefore, the root of the stress is never going to be dealt with. Or cut you off because you're just dragging me down. And that's where I'm at. I don't want Persephone to grow up in an environment like I did, where you guys are so emotionally unavailable, abusive, manipulative, and fucking awful. So, yeah. Also, you're kind of a perv, and I don't really want my daughter around you. The reality is I'm trying to come to grips with the reality that I literally have no family. I have no support system. We have a small family. I only had my grandmother for the last 10 years, but over the last 10 years, she has shown me exactly why my mother ended up being the way that she was. And I'm tired of being in a relationship with that. And I wanted to work on it, but that would require effort on your end. And you don't want to put that in, not even for your kids. Mom ran from you her entire life because of what you were willing to sweep under the rug and pretend like didn't happen. And as a result, we had shitty childhoods because of it. And that is something that we need to sit down and talk about as a family, not air out on YouTube. But you refuse to do so. So I'm going to vent about it on YouTube. For the rest of my life, I have no family. You know, my mom, I can't even see. And she's on her last legs. My grandmother is quite literally the only family that I have. And I've tried having an emotional connection with her. And I know that through you have made that harder and harder. Because you're an emotionless person. You're a big old manly man, Terry. A manly man. Remember that. I would love to see you sitting in my seat. And without the support system that you had, you wouldn't be where you are today because you can't even type a fucking paragraph. Let's be real with each other here. I've been waiting a long ass time to say this. You treat my grandmother like shit. You manipulate her. You take advantage of her naiveness. You know that she's one of those people that you can push around, so you do. And you try to influence her thinking. And you try to make her think in this way that, like, I'm a failure and Alicia was this when she was doing this, but now she's a success because she's in college. You're a holier-than-thou asswipe who lived a privileged life and has never had to deal with any issues ever other than, you know, having to pick between a career or your daughter, and you chose the wrong one. We are the exact opposite from one another. Here I am trying to better our relationship so my daughter can grow up knowing you guys. But in order to do that, it requires therapy and effort on your part, which you're not willing to put in. So what am I supposed to do? You think that's a mental state? No, man. I'm just starting to have clarity on how shitty this family really is. And I just want to cut myself loose from it. Because what's the point, man? What's the point in having a relationship with someone where I am the one putting in all the fucking effort? None. And if y'all want to sit here and not take accountability for anything in life and pretend like all your kids hate you and that's just on them, that's because they're not right in the head, you do that. But one day it's going to hit you like a fucking truck. You are not a man. You are a coward. You couldn't step up to the plate and be a parent. You sit here and you belittle me every day, and when I finally decide enough is enough and do it back, oh my God, that's a problem, and I'm just in this awful mental state. You do nothing but push my grandmother around and try to influence her thinking, and you have absolutely impacted our relationship, so congratulations there. You're a coward, Derry, and you always will be. And I would rather be the brokest me than the richest you, because you are the opposite of what success looks like. And you're the opposite of what a man looks like. Have a nice life. I feel like you've had that on the tip of your tongue forever, and you probably said the same thing to your daughter. Bye.